Who is Marc Ryan?
Marc Ryan is a scared but brave. He doesn't know what he's doing, but he's got some kind of idea what he's doing. He tries to be kind and tries to be funny and just wants to really be able to make an impact on the world. That's who Marc Ryan is.
We're delighted to announce our newest partner for Legends with Bevo. A big welcome to Ancora National. Ancora National are an incredible organisation with passionate staff that are all about giving people living with a disability a better life by helping them to find employment. They believe that everyone is deserving of living a fulfilling life with no one left behind, and they provide a range of support services to people living with a disability. To find out more, go to their website, ancoranational.com.au. Hey folks, before we start this episode today with the beautiful bogan Marc Ryan, just be aware that this does talk about mental health and suicide, today's episode. So if it's triggering for you, then do contact Lifeline on 131114. Well, for the second time round, make sure you go back and check out episode number 12 of our Comedy Legends of Bevo series. It's a great pleasure to have the man himself, Marc Ryan, the beautiful bogan.
Man, thank you, Bevo. Thanks for having me back on.
Mate, always a pleasure. At the moment, you've got a show at the Adelaide Fringe. You're doing lots of things. We'll get to that in a moment. But your show, What Would Gary Do? It's about your son and all the sort of antics that he got up to. Tell us more about it.
It's just a fun, I think, journey about, because back in the 2000s, we had What Would Jesus Do? And I grew up in a church and, not everyone would agree, but a lot of people would agree that probably the church isn't what Jesus would do. Do you know what I mean? Like you look at the church now and you go, I don't think Jesus would approve of that at all. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're sitting in billion-dollar buildings and you've got gold everywhere and there's people starving. Pretty sure that's not what Jesus had planned.
True.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and, that's just the facts. You got the Vatican, that's richest city or country in the world, and people starving and dying, and there's homeless people everywhere. Well, so my point is, the whole thing is about what would Gary do is, Gary's this made up character of all my children who are all loose units and all their stories. But, it comes out as a story of hope that, if we're kind and we're loving and we're genuine human beings, then there is hope for the world.
That's beautiful, mate.
Yeah.
Because you've got 3 kids yourself, is that correct?
Yes, we've got 3 kids. So
how old are they?
19, 18 and 15.
Unbelievable.
So
all teenagers.
I'm on the home stretch. And I love them. Like, they know they're my heart, right? They know that I adore them to bits more than anything in the world. But they know also once they're independent, Dad's getting his hobo ear on and getting a camper van and just, I'm out on the road.
And do you live with the boys as well, or?
I know. So me and my ex, I've got an ex-wife now. Yeah. So we separated 4 years ago. So I have one that stays with me full time.
Yeah. And
the other 2 stay with their mum to look after their mum, which I love because I want to protect their mum. Yeah. So I've got one that stays with me. He's a 19-year-old, beautiful, beautiful boy. But
is that Gary?
No. I can't say his name for different reasons.
But sure.
That's fine. But he's lived with me for 17 years. So I'm like foster parent.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So I can't go into too many details, but
of course.
He lives with me and he's beautiful, but he's just a normal 19-year-old because he just smells. Just a smelly teenager, but they all do. So there's no offense if you watch it. There's no offense. All teenagers smell.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. No, I'm sure we're all probably the same as when we were like that age.
100%. I was a smelly teenager. And the problem is we've got a smelly pug as well. So there's 3 of us that smell in the house. And that's why I'm still single.
And tell us a bit more about the show and, where you get that material from for your show as well.
Well, I grew up in a church and I grew up around an environment that every time you made a mistake, you were shamed out for making a mistake, or you were, the end of the world, you're going to hell if you make a mistake, or, but I think part of growing up is making mistakes.
And learning from them.
Like, how do you learn if you don't make a mistake? Right? So I'm a pretty loose kind of parent and I let my children work out some stuff. And then I say to them, when you mess up, come back and we'll sort it out. You know what I mean? And I'll write jokes about it and I'll get paid for it. Like that's.
I don't think that's a bad thing though.
100% it's not. Like, I'll tell a story in the show about how I remember having a boys-girls night at a youth group, because youth groups are toxic as shit. I don't care what anyone says. And people can argue with me on the internet, whatever, but youth groups are toxic. I grew up one where there was teenagers teaching teenagers about how to live. Like, how does that work? Like, it's the same as like, some churches you go to, and you have to go to marriage counselling to a priest that's never been married. What do you know about that?
Yeah, so they can be so judgmental as well.
But what do you know about, like, if you haven't been married, what do you know about being married?
Yes.
Like, there's no lived experience there. Like, that's just my point of view. But like, I remember being in a youth group and the pastor separated us, boys and girls, and then one night, stood in front of these, about 20 odd young men, all 15 years old, and, asked us all the question, so who here masturbates? Like, dude, we all do. We're 15. That's all we do. Do you know what I mean? Like, I stay up till 9:05 every night to watch SBS just to see a little bit of a boobie. Do you know what I mean? Like that's all we did. But there was all this shame attached to it. But there's nothing shameful about it. Like, the Lord gave you a fiddle toy that explodes. Like, what a gift. Like, poof. Like,
and like I said before, it's all about learning, especially being a teenager. So.
It's all about learning and learning where not to jerk off, like in the shopping centre. No, they're just joking. But, but it's all about learning. And it's all, and now I parent in a way that, like, my kids can talk to me about anything they want to talk to me about, because there's no shame. Like, okay, like, oh, this happened. Okay, cool. And
they probably respect you more for that. So
I just don't. Oh, I hope so, because I've got 3 beautiful children, and they're all really respectful, genuine boys. And but hopefully that's the relationship that we have, that is open and we can talk about anything.
That's so good, mate. I'm at the other end of the spectrum. I've got a 2-year-old, so so it's very, very different to your situation. But far out. Sometimes they really do. Test your patience. Doing things that, like trying to jump off couches and nearly hurt themselves and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's like, and they look at you thinking, why are you yelling at me? Why are you being mean? It's like, we only doing it because we care for you. So
100%.
That's the thing. But I guess, yes, the other end of the spectrum, you're seeing so many kids now, and you'd witness this as well, the different work that you do and everything with mental health, which you'll get to in a moment, Marc. But we're seeing so many kids that go off the rails, and it's really sad. And quite often it's because parents don't care and they just don't give a stuff, or they're off taking drugs or alcoholics and that sort of thing. And then you see these kids stealing cars and running amok, are only 12, 13. It's so sad. And it's like, what sort of hope have these kids got when their parents are off the rails,
But this is the systematic problem. This is the system's broken because their parents are broken.
Yeah.
And now and when you talk about kids who are in commercial care or in government care, they've got no self-worth. So, a lot of the time when you meet these kids, and I have interactions with them sometimes, they're like, well, no one loves me anyway. And you're already expecting me to do the wrong thing.
Yeah.
So watch this. Like, watch this. Watch me do the wrong thing, because you've already prejudged me and told me that, I'm a piece of shit or whatever, I'm hopeless. So I'll prove to you that I'm hopeless. And that's the systematic problem, because, and the cycle continues, because there is such a thing as intergenerational trauma, which is a thing. And that just gets continued through the cycle, and then all of a sudden we end up in the position we're in now, where kids just don't care. And as a society, we actually need to work out how to listen to them first, and then navigate putting our arms around them and go, actually, your life does matter. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that's the biggest challenge that we have, because the government only can do so much, but it's up to actual community members, and to, instead of, like, I get that it's a car, and I get it's what you've earned, and and there's some crimes that are really abrasive and like, oh, that's really awful. But what about the kid who's just so down in the dumps that
been through hell and back,
that just doesn't care? Like, I don't care. Put me in jail, okay, whatever. Like, that's the problem. Like,
so what we need is more people that are like able to educate these kids like you, that say to these kids, look, we've all made mistakes, we've all done silly things in our lives as teenagers and whatever, but the trick is to learn from it and be a better person, and know that there are people out there that care about you. So
and even just listen, like what you said, like, because everyone wants to be heard, and everyone wants to be seen, and everyone wants to know that they matter. And I think when you don't have when you're not listened to, when you're not seen, and you don't feel like you matter, that's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
Because at that point, I don't care. Like, what does my life count? Where if we can actually make people feel like their life does count, you you do matter, and yeah, it's complicated. It's a big Pandora's box of, a lot of stuff. But, and as corny as it is, sometimes it's just helping that one kid, like that whole story about the starfish. I remember growing up in the church. One story I do remember is, the guy walking along the beach and he saw the million starfish and he started throwing them back, and the other guy come up and goes, oh, you can't save them all. He goes, yeah, but I can save this one, and throws the one starfish back. It matters to him. So if we can just, show kindness and love to one, maybe that just helps one kid, and that's enough, right? I mean, if we all help one, I don't know, maybe. I mean, I'm a big dreamer, so.
Yeah, no, I don't know what the answer is, because obviously we're having a youth crime epidemic in Melbourne's even worse than Adelaide, so, and Queensland as well. So, and I know the government's trying their best, and there's people out there trying to help these young ones, but it's tricky, isn't it? And it's very sad to see. So, but hey, let's get back to more of a positive note and 100%. Talk more about your Fringe show, because not just your show, but you're doing some amazing things as well. You're hosting a tent, and you mentioned the other night that you got to see Lawrence Mooney, obviously a past guest in the past, episode number 1, give that a bit of a plug. Of our Comedy Legends of Bevo series, and he was so funny, ripping bloke. Yeah, so tell us about what you're doing there with the Adelaide Fringe as well.
Oh, so I look, there's a tent, comedy ha-ha tent, and it's across if you go across the garden, there's just past the bridge there, and there's a spruiker and stuff, and it's just raw comedy. It's just as in, there's no stage, there's a small sound system, they pack 48 people in there, and Saturday was 42 degrees or whatever it was, and it was everyone was just a sweaty mess. It was wild. But I think it's what the core of what the Fringe was at the start. Do you know what I mean? Because if you remember back to when the Fringe started, there was no show rides. And I'm not having a crack at the Fringe at all. I'm just saying, the evolution of the Fringe has become what it is now.
Yeah.
Where people go to a garden to have a beer, and then you ask them, oh, what show did you see? I didn't see one.
Yeah.
So you just came to the garden to have a drink. Yeah. Which is, again, is lovely because that's community, right?
Yes.
And I understand it, but it's like going to Hoyt's and getting an expensive coffee and not watching a film. Go see a show. Yeah. But I guess the tent is the option of seeing a show, and there's different comics on there.
Yeah. And it's cheap as well. That's the best part about it.
Yeah.
So,
and there's good comics. Lawrence Mooney's been in there. Luke Heggie has been in there. I'm a regular there because I like doing it, and my favourite part of comedy is actually meeting new people and, just telling funny stories. That's, So the tent's pretty rad. The comedy ha-ha tent it's a place to be on a Friday, Saturday night in the garden.
I absolutely love that. And you've had a really interesting 12 months, Marc. You've been all over Australia, doing regional tours and that sort of thing. Give us some of the stories and how that's all been going for you.
Oh, the last 12 months, even the last, I've done 10,000 Ks in the last 7 weeks. So my mechanic came around the other day, looked at my car and just goes, you're up for a service already. And so even this year I've been to Wilmington, Melrose, Meningie. That was all in a 2-week space. And this Fringe, I've been up to Corn again, and Kimber. Did 11 people. We did a show to 11 people in Kimber, Bevo, because I'm successful. And 11 people in Kimber. To say I was a little bit on the sketchy side after that would be an understatement. But I will say, when I left Kimber, I realised there's only 11 people in Kimber, so you can't sell any more than this in the town.
A very intimate show.
A very intimate show, and it was great. Look, I'm not having a crack at Kimber. I love you, my Kimber people. But I was in Albury-Wodonga last year. Went to Albury-Wodonga and did a heap of shows there, and that was kind of cool. And I've stacked up some really, really big Ks. And I guess the most part is, if people know my work, it's based on lived experience with mental illness and trying to connect with people. And so that's been a real big adventure.
I want to talk more about the mental health and your background and how you sort of turn things around as well with comedy, and because obviously you've been through ups and downs, but now you're doing really good things, and which is just awesome. Recently, you actually won an award as well, so congratulations.
I got nominated. No, I got nominated.
You got nominated.
I didn't quite win. But now some other beautiful lady from Port Macquarie that has an incredible story won the national award. So that was really rad.
To be nominated, though, that's amazing achievement. Something you should be so proud of.
Oh, yeah, 100% I was. And, she was much more deserving than me. She's got this incredible backstory, and she's got a business now in Port Macquarie. She's really And so was the other lady that was nominated as well. So yeah, there's no, look, I don't, yeah, I'm not keen on too many awards.
What was the award?
I was Azura. It was a job network thing. Azura, who are like a job work network agency. They're really good, but it's a startup award or something, like a national one. So that was really lovely. That's for my business, Ferro Frost and Chaos, which is my entertainment business. So yeah, it was lovely to be nominated, and lovely to be able to go to Sydney for a night and stay in the Hyatt Regency.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, yep, overlooking the harbour, and then I flew in the next night and drove to Loxton and stayed in the Loxton Hotel. So I upgraded when I went to Loxton because I could overlook the river and yes, and carp instead of dolphins.
Riverland's a nice part of the world, though, for sure.
Riverland's incredible. I'm not having a crack at the river. I'm not sliding at the river. I'm just saying, like, if you go from the dolphins, Sydney Harbour, to the carp and Loxton.
Big change.
I'll take the Loxton carp. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
No, it's very well deserved. And why is mental health so close to your heart as well, mate?
Well, because I struggle, right? And and it's really funny thing to talk about because I have turned a corner in some ways because I've been in therapy for 8 years. I've learnt to protect my peace, and I'm trying to work out, my life for the most, but I still struggle, right? But I think for me, talking about mental health helps me realise I'm not alone, but hopefully it helps the audience members click and go, oh, so he's struggling as well. Because mental illness, what it does is, from my own lived experience, it makes us feel like we're the only ones going through it. Like, and you have these, not voices, but sometimes voices in your head, like going, oh, you're an idiot, or you're a loser, or you shouldn't feel this way. You've got everything, like all this stuff you've got. Look at all this stuff, like you're successful, and then but you're still depressed or you're still anxious, like. But that's normal. It's normal because the world's overwhelming.
Yes.
There's a lot going on in the world, like, and we're almost dying a death by 1,000 cuts at the moment because if it's not the grocery prices that are expensive, it's electricity bills that are expensive, then it's water. It's legitimate. It's a legitimate response to be overwhelmed and get depressed, I think, these days. And you can have gratitude. I'm very grateful for everything. I get grateful for this. Like, not everyone gets to do stuff like this and talk to you, Bevo. Like, I'm grateful for everything in my life, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't get on top of me.
Yeah, of course.
And sometimes I just need a break from the world, and I think when you hear someone say that as well and go, look, it's all right, like, you're not alone, then it builds some sort of community where you go, oh wow, so I'm not an idiot for thinking this way. Of course you're not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, you're right. Everyone goes through challenges in life. And I went through bullying in high school, and it's made me a better person now. And yeah, like you mentioned before, being grateful. I'm so grateful to speak to awesome people like yourself and all the other comedians and all the amazing sports and entertainment icons I've been able to chat to since doing this, or since I started this, back in April 2018. It's like pinch yourself moments, And,
100%. Right.
But yeah, you're right. There's nothing wrong with it at all of, having down days and that sort of thing and going through rough times, because like I said, we all go through it, and probably those long drives, do they help you a bit mentally as well?
They do, because I like listening to music. So like a long drive and putting music on and, listening to the music I like without anyone interrupting it is really lovely for me. Yeah. But for a long time I couldn't drive long distances because I do live with some pretty serious kind of demons. Like I live with a thing called suicide ideation, which means I constantly think of ending my life. And so for a long time I wasn't well enough to do drives over an hour and a half to the country. I'd have to try and work out or take someone with me because my brain would get a bit sketchy, and it just, being a safe storyteller now, it wasn't safe for me to take really long drives. But now, like I said, I've been working on myself, and just a plug to anyone who is struggling. You can get a mental health care plan. You can go see a GP or a psychologist for free, or a therapist for free. I mention that in all my shows, because whilst I talk about mental health, there's also the funny side of life, which the Taoists or the Buddhists say, there's light and dark, there's tragedy and there's life. They have to coexist. Yeah. Otherwise, what is the world? Yeah. And so that's where I try and lean into all of that in my shows and talk about some really dark stuff, but then also some really light stuff, because
it's good.
It balances each other out.
Yeah, and you've got to be grateful for life, and Like you mentioned before, there's so many people that are doing so much tougher than us, and we've got to be grateful that we can put food on the table and that sort of thing, and have a roof on, over our heads, which a lot of people don't at the moment. So
and look, if when we talk about food on the table, I'm a stand-up comedian during the Fringe, like. We're getting Maccas, like minimum. Like there's no good food. Like, it's takeaway for the most part. No, I'm just joking. There's Hungry Jacks. But this is the thing. Like life throws curveballs.
It really does.
You know what I mean? And again, I love philosophy. Like I read a lot of philosophy, and a lot of the time they talk about learning to be a wiggly man in a wiggly world, because the world changes and it moves. And sometimes if we get stuck in our ways, that's where our undoing, because life should have worked out this way. Well, I don't know. It didn't. Like, I didn't plan on getting divorced. Do you know what I mean? Like, that wasn't part of the plan. I got married to stay married. But it happened.
It happened.
And now I'm probably best friends with my ex-wife. Like,
oh, that's lovely.
You know what I mean? Like, we're really good co-parents. Do you know what I mean? But now I've got a really good friend, but I don't have a wife. And it's a different kind of vibe. But it's lovely. You know what I mean? And so you got to be a wiggly person in a wiggly world.
And not everyone's like that as well, like we spoke about. So
I don't know. Like I can only speak of my lived experience. Do you know what I mean? That's all I can talk about. But and one of the biggest helps for me, I guess, I've got a lot of tattoos, as you can see, but I got left and right. See, left and right, because I don't know my left and rights and stuff. That's the true story. I don't, even now, like my kids are, oh Dad, what's that? What's that on the over there on the right side of the road? And I look that way and they're like, dude, you got a tattoo on your hand. Like, just stop. But I've got memento mori, because I love stoicism. And, memento mori is remember one day you'll die. And it's not meant to be a dark, you're going to die. Like, no one gets out of this alive.
Yeah.
No one does. You know what I mean? So live your life to your fullest. Don't hold grudges. Don't.
It's great.
Stuff that we're angry about today. Like you were saying, you got a 2-year-old. My biological son turned 18 in January. I almost had a nervous breakdown looking at photos that I still remember taking when he was 2, and now he's 18. And
it just goes so fast.
You go I've wished. Some days you wish your life away, and you're like, no, hold every. I stop people in the shops now like a weirdo and go, hey, listen, like treasure that moment that you're having with your child now, because before you know it, he's 18 years old. He's getting his first tattoo, which I paid for and endorsed. Do you know what I mean? Like, live a full life. Like, do dumb shit. Like I tell you, look at this. This is my favourite tattoo at the moment. I got my name tag. I got my name tag tattooed on my chest.
That's amazing.
You know what I mean? Because I got a family history of dementia, and I'm just trying to get ahead of the game for the most part.
That's the best tattoo I've ever seen. That's amazing.
All the stuff. Like, if I can encourage anyone to do anything, just all the dumb shit you've thought about doing. Like, do it. Because one day you're not going to be able to.
Yeah, well said. Yeah. I want to ask you as well about hecklers, because obviously we saw recently, and not this is about Dave Hughes, because that's been talked about a number of times, but like your shows that you've been doing for quite a while now, you mentioned 6 years from a full-time perspective and comedy for over 12, 13 years. How do you deal with people that are like talking during your shows or hecklers, that sort of thing? And what did you think of the whole Hughesy situation?
Oh, look, Hughesy does every comic's different, right? I like to think like I'm a real gentleman sometimes. Hey, listen, like just the way I do with it. Hey, listen, I'm trying to do my job. If you could just be quiet, that'd be really lovely. And look, different situations count for different things. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or you have to do different things in different situations. But like for me, I'm hey, can you be quiet? And then kind of gently ask if they won't be quiet. Look, just remove yourself, because all these people have paid for a show. But more than importantly, like you can always make more money, but you can't make more time. You know what I mean? And time is essentially our most valuable currency, right? I know that's pretty deep, but it's the truth, because you can't get that time back. Yeah. So I really hate it that you're ruining these people's time who have come, they've got babysitters, they've paid for a ticket, they've probably gone out for dinner and made a night of this, and now you're kind of ruining it. Can you just stop, or you can just leave? You know, and that's the way I deal with it, because like...
Oh, so it's happened to you?
Just generally hey, if you don't like it, you don't have to be here. You know what I mean? Just don't ruin it for these people who are enjoying it.
Couldn't agree more.
And I just think, like, because I'm not I'm a pacifist by nature. Like, I'm I'm not a good fighter for one. Like, I pulled a hamstring fishing. I wasn't even fishing properly. I was just...
You're a lover, not a fighter.
I'm a lover, not a fighter. I was squidding, essentially. So I pulled a hamstring standing still. So, like... But more than that, like... just me. There's other ways of approaching stuff. You're going, hey, look, and I've had a few situations where people have piped up and, hey, you don't have to stay here, but just don't ruin it for all the other people as well.
Well said.
Because that's, I'm not going to fight you, but just leave.
Yeah. It's a really great way of putting it. Yeah. Hey, before we finish up today, mate, how do people follow you? And if there's anyone out there that want to, get you for a gig, or because I know you do speaking gigs as well.
Yeah.
How do people find you?
So you find me at The Beautiful Bogan on Instagram, and just Google that. That's probably my main page that I go to, is The Beautiful Bogan, and get in touch. And if you're struggling, reach out as well, because essentially at the core of it all, no one's alone. But also seek professional help where it's needed as well. I can't fix my own life, I don't fix anyone else's. So don't ask me for good advice. Like, I'll just be like, I don't know. Go eat KFC. That will help you with that need right there and then. Yeah, but a good KFC.
Hey, Marc Ryan, Beautiful Bogan, always a pleasure, mate.
Cool. Thank you so much, Bevo. Cheers. Thank you.
Thanks again. Cheers.